back. We jumped from Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, and we are now Sega Sonic the Hedgehog 1992. Apparently, this I am thoroughly looking forward to everybody seeing this run because if you've seen Sega Sonic before, like you kind of know what to expect, but things turns up a little bit when it comes to co-op, and we have got no better runners than S2 and Spectral who are going to be showing us this run. So S2, how you doing, gamer?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you guys? How are you doing, Spectral?
Oh, I'm doing great. I can't wait for this run.
Yeah, I'm
This is
with
gonna
you.
be sick.
Yeah. Well, not much to show up on the title screen, so I guess let's just jump into it. You ready?
Yep.
Alrighty, we're gonna be starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Oops.
You need a second player, S2.
Yeah. So this actually already comes into our first little bit of a time save here. Starting our second player a little bit late in. So you're gonna see Spec hop in there, and he's already closer to these jail bars, so gets us a lot of easier escape right there.
Okay.
Already showing off some cool strats here.
So, for the folks that don't know, this was a game that came out in 1992 or 1993. I can't quite remember. One of you to maybe fact check on that one.
93.
It was 93, but it was copyrighted in 92, whatever
That's
the
right.
splash screen says. But it is a game exclusively for the arcades in Japan. We have the fortune of being able to emulate it nowadays, although we are not using the intended controls. I believe both of our runners are using a keyboard when the game would initially want you to use a trackball. And they didn't program the movements fantastically, so it's not too... You're not sort of taking too much away from the experience by using a keyboard, I feel.
Yeah.
Keyboard can be pretty challenging at times just because we don't have that gradual acceleration that we would have with a trackball.
It is also helpful, though, to be able to kind of move at 100% the entire time, so... And that's already the first level.
Yeah, so I think whatever story there is of this game, our wonderful friends Ray and Mighty have joined Sonic, and they've been thrown onto this trap-filled island full of terrors, and they have to make their way out of it. And I'm not going to spoil the ending, but something does happen to the island. Definitely not drawing any, well, maybe inspiring future events that happen to islands in Sonic games. So yeah, you can read into that if you want to. But over to Icy Isle, which, yes, it will do. It has got ice physics, and both of these runners are doing a very good job. Oh, I said
As you were saying,
too soon. They were doing a very good job at missing the ice cube cycles, but they're now going to do a quick death strat here, which Mighty sort of, I don't know, geeking out a little bit there. To get down to this section. Now they're going to try and be smart with trying to miss these spears, which is very nice.
You got the camera stuck there, which is pretty much one of the main, I guess, mechanics of this game. You can take turns tight, but if you take them too tight, you'll actually lose time.
Yeah, and when it comes to... When it comes to two players, you know, if one person is getting ahead by quite a bit, you are always sort of laden to the other character, the other player. So you can't get too far ahead. You've got to make sure that you're both sort of on the same level. And you guys still have like joint world record for this game in single player, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so they are literally on the same like as a playing level, which, you know, is ideal if you need a co-op partner for something like this. So it's less teamworky, but I know it is kind of teamworky, but it's like I don't know, I'm talking out of my arse here, but it's very precise, and yeah, this game can be very unforgiving.
Yeah, it is.
Being eaten up there.
Yeah, it is both a teamwork exercise and also like a cover yourself exercise too. A lot of what is like skill in the co-op is just, you know, making sure that you're both gonna be able to make it through any given obstacle, because if one player gets slowed down, it throws you off. I think me and Spec are both so familiar with the single player runs that it's really hard to see our characters anywhere that's not the direct center of the screen. So it's a little bit tricky to kind of unlearn exactly what you're looking at from single player and kind of relearn the game in the co-op format.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that really has to be adjusted is Spectral with the slight delay, because both of you are connecting from Parsec. As you can see, they are not in the same rooms. We are spanning some considerable distance between these two to bring them both running this game. That was Desert Dodge. We've got to have a desert level in a Sonic game. You know how it is.
Yeah, that's one of the bigger like harder levels for us in co-op actually. So it's good to get that out of the way.
Now, Trap Tower for the Sonic nerds out there. You might recognize the theme behind this stage, as in the song. Those Sonic Mania Plus fans out there. Speaking of Sonic Mania Plus, stick around. At the end of day 3, I believe, actually, for the little bit that we're going to be doing on Sunday morning, we're going to be seeing some Sonic Mania and hearing more of this track. But these two now have to be very careful with how much they're running, and they do not want to get squashed by any of these, you know, because that kind of makes sense. And then they want to line up here. Yeah, so very sort of precise movements that they have to do to make sure that they don't land on any of those spikes. And they are now lining up this little climb here, which should mean it's interesting position for both of them to be in. But they are not getting hit by any of the bombs, just nonchalant, both running off to the end. Oh, you'd love to see it.
So I will say, although it is unfortunate that I took a hit there, it's actually good because there's coming up a strat where we need to actually die right here. Very new strat discovery for this game, actually. I think we maybe found out about it like 2 weeks ago or whatever, so we'll actually be able to pull that off now. We both have the right amount of health for it. Very exciting to get to show that off. We're christening this the Egon strat after new runner Egon, who managed to pull it off in a run, so shout out to him.
Okay.
Got the bad spawn. Get you in there.
Yep.
And I'll come in there. And just like that, we skipped a small cutscene. And now we're actually coming up on this route, this area, which has 2 routes. And I think Hib will be able to agree with us when we say the top route is the best route.
Isn't there only one route?
Yeah, only the top route, because, you know, we're just
We are going
players.
into a boss fight after this silly conversation about routes. How dare you? Even Link is against me. Alright, so they're going to hopefully be trying to line up for a...
That was so free-handed. What the heck?
That was
my god.
I can't believe you got it. Like...
I don't know what I was doing. I was just like, alright, let's do it. And oh man.
Okay, folks, so to explain what happened there, that boss takes around 9 hits to destroy, and as you can see, it didn't quite take 9 hits, or did it? There were 9 hits that were registered in S2's movement there, because he jumped at a specific time when the arms with the blades, I suppose it was, are sort of, I don't know, they have collision to the point where you can just wedge yourself in between them, and you won't get damaged, but instead you damage... They are holding their breaths at this point. This is a tradition of SegaSonic speedrunning. But yes, as we said, 9 hits instead of 1. That's what you love to see. Whilst this is going on, is there anything that our Broken Hyperlink would like to mention to us?
I would just like to mention that if this is your first time here, hi, hello, welcome to the SegaSonic community channel. SegaSonic?
Yep, the SegaSonic takeover is real.
Yes. After a year or so of respite, the SSC events team are back and here to serve the community with marathons, tournaments, showcases, and discussions. Make sure you follow the channel for a range of streams from across the series in the future.
Alright, back on the SegaSonic speedrun community channel.
It
both of our
really
runners
might
have
be
managed to hold their breath. But for that amount of time. Very well done, fellas. If you don't get any voice cracks after it, that will also be very impressive. That's like my muse. If I'm holding my breath, I just won't be able to. Yeah. Okay, so
I feel like I
everything
just
you
heard
just
one
saw,
anyway.
I wouldn't be surprised. So all of the stuff that you just saw there, that incredibly sharp movement to get over those rafts is really, really hard. And even with sort of seasoned practice and a little bit of input lag, it is quite hard because you've been seeing some of the movements that they've been doing diagonally don't translate to pure diagonal movement. You'll see them doing a little bit of flickering left and right here. They can't do perfect diagonal movement, so that is something that they have to constantly contest with. Oh my goodness. This has started off so well. Oh, fellas!
Oh, get on that ladder, Spec, get on.
Oh,
my
that
God.
movement was so clean. So, of course, it's another stage that speedrunners love cycles, and that was another example of them here, and they're going to do some funny bonking on the wall. It's funny.
We might get a double game over here, I don't know.
Yeah, genuinely, that will be rough. Or we just won't take damage.
Okay.
You got it, you got it, you got it.
Alright, I'll try.
Oh man.
You know, as far as Eggman Towers go, I'm thoroughly impressed by that one.
Not bad for co-op. That one's a little bit hard to explain, especially in the time we have left, but basically where those things fall depend on where the camera is, and since there's two of us, neither one of us can fully control the camera, so basically that was just like as perfect as it gets for co-op. But now we're in the final section of the game. This actually has a banger track that you can't hear because unfortunately the world's loudest alarm sound effect is going off. But we're going to be coming up on time. Probably when it says around 3 on the timer here, we're going to be exiting a door. And so that'll be the end of the run. We just have to make it out of Eggman's tower and we'll be home free. And time.
GG's.
Thank you.
What's the Sonic guy doing here? Get him out.
Yeah, get him. He was never there. What did he do? Yeah, he did
Bro
not
thinks he's part of the team.
I am interested to know what the time was, because that was a really good feeling run.
8th game was really good.
Yeah.
The timer hasn't stopped, so I can't tell.
Okay. Well, I want to say good game to you, Spec. Thank you for being my number one SegaSonic homie, for really sticking through it with that run. That was phenomenal, honestly. Better than I could have ever asked for.
I feel like all the racing we did really pushed this game to like a different new level, basically.
Yeah,
in terms of movement and strats.
Oh yeah, totally. Anything you'd like to add, Hib?
I'd just like to say that I'm thoroughly impressed by that run, and you know, there's a part that, like, when we thought of that as a category, it just seemed more like a novelty. We were just like, okay, like, we'll do a run of this and see what happens, and that was sort of before, I think that was before Spectral got really involved with finding different things in this game and making things consistent, because that boss hit, we just sort of like, it happened by freak accident at a UKSG like a long while back, and now it's a consistent thing, and people have to get them in runs to get a really good time. So yeah, like SegaSonic is, even though, you know, it's only been going sort of community wise for about 3 years, things are still being found, and like co-op has breathed new life into the game, which is something that you love to see. So yeah, thoroughly impressed by these two, and no, I was sort of dipping out of VC, so I might not have heard you, but shout outs to Tassers. We love Tassers. We like Tough Cracker and Rodonic. Is that the name?
Yeah, Rodonic.
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, big shout outs to them. Quite a few strats we used in this run were discovered very recently by Tassers.
And also shout out to Spec and Hypnotics here, who have been absolutely instrumental in shaping this game's meta. Some of the most dedicated runners I've ever met for any game, let alone this one.
I still need to join you in the Sub 11 club, so I don't know how dedicated I am, but...
Well, if you'd like to become a dedicated runner, Hib, or anybody watching, there is a tournament in the works that could be coming up for this game, so if you want to keep an eye out on the Sonic Speedrun community Twitter, there may be information popping up about that if you are interested in signing up for a tournament for a game like this.
Indeed, and I think all of the fellas in here would vouch for this being a really straightforward game to sort of, like, you know, finish. Like, even a casual attempt might take you around 20 minutes, half an hour, and then it's quite easy to learn as a speedrun, and then, you know, as most speedruns are, like, it's a little more difficult to master. So we definitely implore you to give it a go. It's unique to try and control and to start off with, but definitely worth your time in the long run. But then we would say that because we've been spending, you know, the past couple of years of our life on it. But, yeah, if you're as odd as we are, we definitely implore you to try it out. But yeah, I think that is mostly us sorted out. Definitely check out these runners. They are both going to be back later on in the event. We're going to be having S2 showing off Sonic Drift. Yep, you can speedrun that. Although we've been telling S2 for like the past 3 years that it's not a valid speed. I'm joking. Bro just needs to let go. But he's going to be back with that later. And then, of course, we're going to be blessed with Sonic Schoolhouse with Spectral. Fellas, I think before we go off, because I think we're doing fairly well in terms of how time is going for the marathon, do you want to just quickly try and sell your runs? S2, why should we watch Sonic Drift?
You want to come back to me on that? Let's let Spec go first.
Okay.
Schoolhouse is a really good entry. It's the only entry in the Sonic series that combines education and horror under a single game. And I feel like it's probably key to a lot of missing like puzzles in Sonic lore. Like there's a little crocodile, there's a rabbit that may or may not be Cream's father. So I think there's a lot to see in that game. I definitely, I would definitely say check it out if you also want to speedrun through kindergarten at 8 a.m. my time at least.
So,
I mean, yeah, that sounds like a good time to be up for learning.
So much fun, truly. Love the Schoolhouse run, honestly.
Sonic Drift.
Well, I mean, let's just say, maybe you see that Schoolhouse run and you go, oh, I wanna play a Sonic game that runs at a horrible frame rate, but I can't do Basic Edition, and that's where Sonic Drift comes in. Truly a Sonic game of all time.
That's. I mean, I didn't think I could have sold any of my games as good as they just did right now. What was that, Spec?
I'm sold. That was convincing. I'll definitely check that out.
Let's go.
Well, folks, schedule in the chat to find out when all of these runs are going to be happening. And of course, keep those donations coming in. We want to be raising some good money for able gamers. And who knows, maybe you want to hear something other than French in Sonic Generations. Although I'm sure French would be quite amusing as well. But I'm going to let the host talk more about that because the last thing that I need to do is more hosting because I've got
take my
that
job.
scheduled. Yeah, if you give me a chance, I will.
Alright, well, thank you both for the runs and Hippie for the commentary, as well as giving me a little bit of a break from hosting for like 2 minutes. But we are going to go on a break whilst we set up for the next run, so don't go anywhere.